Thank you so much for joining us today. Before we bring out Mark and Tabitha and Justin, I want to pose a few questions to you. Imagine the world without small business owners, those passionate creators who are driven, bypass tradition, and bet the farm on themselves. Now imagine the world without small businesses. Would Austin have its thriving local music scene? What about your favorite restaurant? Would you have those salons and services and shops that make community feel not only safe, but like home? Now imagine the world without small businesses that turn into big businesses. Would you have your favorite brand? What about those streaming platforms and that coffee that I know and you know and I'm addicted to? Would we have those things? It's hard to imagine that world without small businesses because there are 33 million small businesses in the US today, more than 400 million of them globally. They represent 99% of all businesses. They employ 49% of today's workforce, and some reports say that they drive over $6 trillion of global revenue. It's hard to imagine that world. And I will tell you that as we've been on this journey together, one thing that we know for sure is that small businesses bring so much more to the table than just money. They are our hearts, they inspire us, they build creativity, cultural diversity. They shape our communities, making them stronger, more resilient, and bring them life in ways that people can't imagine. But the harsh reality is that 50% of all small businesses will fail by year 5. That's 50% of all small businesses for reasons that are completely addressable. Lack of business planning, lack of cash flow management, inability to manage employees, resiliency planning not in place, and marketing without consumer insights at its core. The impact of failure of small business is massive because when small businesses fail, the world fails, not just culturally, not just creatively, but economically. And that's why we're here today. It's time for us to think big about small and stop the merry-go-round of success and failure to create a new playing field, one built on inspiration, access, and support, not just for today's generation of small business owners, but for generations to come. And at Clover, we believe that we can change the small business failure rate at the intersection of community, commerce, and culture. Many small business owners go into this with a dream and they have ambition when things are great and market demand is high, cash flow is flowing. But they often underestimate all of the other things that are required to build a great small business. Employee management, inventory management, software solutions. When times get hard, we gotta plan for those times and put our plans in place for not just the good times, but for the bad ones. When cash flow dries up, when everything is on the line. Because resiliency isn't built when times are good, That's not when it happens. It happens when everything is at risk. And so we must ask ourselves not the question of if challenges will come, because they will come, but are small businesses today built to manage through them? And so as Chief Marketing and Communications Officer at Fiserv, parent company to Clover, the world's smartest all-in-one POS solution, we are honored to share the stage today with small business giants. They are fintech innovators, global business icons, and creative visionaries who all share the same dream of closing the gap in small business success. So I want to first welcome to the stage, they're back there having a good time, Cost Plus CEO, Shark Tank GOAT, and none other than Mr. Mark Cuban. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. Coming to the stage next, creative visionary Emmy Award winner, Tabitha Brown. And last but not least, Austin's owner of Beatbox and Mark Cuban investor, Justin Fenchel. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. All right. We are going to start
That's
with...
a hell of a picture, Justin. That was like, you had a good picture of it.
Yeah, that was our future proof.
Looking good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All thank you for being here today. We want to start with just a simple question. What drove you into small business?
I mean, I've been an entrepreneur as long as I can remember. My first quote-unquote company was selling garbage bags door to door. So I can't remember a time in my life when I wasn't into business. It's just always been part of who I am.
Awesome. How did you know you were destined for this?
I guess you never know. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've been terrified. Like when I first got to Dallas, I lived 6 guys, including me, in a 3-bedroom apartment, sleeping on the floor. Got fired started off as a bartender at night, then got a real job and got fired 9 months later and started a company called Micro Solutions. And going through that terror of saying, okay, I've been in business 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, you don't know what you're destined for. You just got to keep on grinding because the alternative is you're broke and I'm sleeping on the floor forever.
Awesome. Tabitha, same question to you.
You know what's so crazy? I thought about this the other day. My first small business started out of a need of extra money because I was on disability because I was sick. And I was like, I got to figure out how to make some money under the table where they ain't going to stop my disability. That's my truth, okay? We're going to tell the truth or ain't we, okay? But I was selling these waist capes that I created a pattern and I had sewed one to put together. And then I sold it for $150. I was like, oh, Lord, if I could sell 4 of them a week, because I ain't need much, but that was going to be enough. And I was able to do that while I was sick. And after that, of course, years later, starting to do content, and people were asking me for T-shirts. And I was like, ain't nobody buying T-shirts. Are they really buying T-shirts? And so I was like, I'm going to go downtown and I'm going to find the T-shirts. I found a printing company and did all the things. And I went home and I said, okay, y'all, I bought 100 T-shirts because it was my money. I didn't know if they was really going to buy them. And I posted them. I had like an Etsy store. And I posted them and I had 26 minutes to run to the grocery store and come back home. And when I came back, I couldn't find them on the system. And I said, Lord, I didn't posted this thing wrong because I don't see them. And they had sold out. And I said, uh-oh, this is a business. oh, people do buy T-shirts with fun sayings on them. And so that's what.
What did they say? What did it say?
It said, because that's my business.
That's all it said, because that's
all
my
it
business.
said. Yeah, because when I cook live. I used to cook live every day at 5 o'clock. And when I would cook, I would tell people, you put as much as you want to, honey, that's your business. I didn't realize I said it that much. But the people was like, can you put that on the T-shirt? I was like, y'all ain't gonna buy no T-shirt because that's my business on it. And they bought that. And so that's what started it. And I think when it comes to business, if I felt like I was destined to do it, that was never my original thought. I thought I was just destined to be famous and I was gonna be an actress. Didn't I say we telling the truth? That's what I thought. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be this big, star, movies and things. But I am a star in my own movie now, right? In my own life. And business, I love it. I fell in love with it. I couldn't believe it, but we were talking about it. It's kind of fun being your own boss. If I don't feel like being in the meeting, baby, we ain't gonna do the meeting today.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, so I love it. I do feel like it's part of, God's plan on my life.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Justin, what about you?
Yeah, I think part of it just, kind of like what Mark was saying, just innately, there was always things that I was figuring out to make money from. Like, seeing opportunities. So I remember being like 7 or 8 years old at the airport, and I saw all of these carts around that there was like, you can get 50 cents if you return them all, and people were just leaving them. So I tell my parents, hey, I'm gonna run around and return all these carts, right? And that was,
So
one
you're saying
example.
your parents would just drop you off at the airport?
Yeah, they dropped me off at the airport, and I just returned carts for 2 weeks straight. But and then like, when you could burn CDs back in the day in high school, and I was like, oh, people like the music that I am putting on CDs, and I would sell them at the high school. So those things. But really for me, it was I'd have to say my dad. I remember I was 10 years old. He was a commercial loan officer at a bank, and the bank had gone through a merger, and he ended up being let go, and I didn't know that, but he would come to my sports practices after school, which he never did. And one night, I'm getting put to bed, and I said to my mom, did Dad get fired? And she's like, no, of course not, sweetie. But he did, and he had this little side hustle he was doing at the time, diverting some clothing with a couple guys, and ended up going all in on that. Took a home equity loan out at our house in Van Nuys, and I remember walking out to get ready for school, and there's 5 people working in our living room. And seeing that, and then eventually after a year of that, they moved to an actual office, and then their first warehouse, and 30 years later, it's a very, very successful logistics company employing hundreds of people. And watching that over my whole life was so inspiring, and he always says, Justin, there's nothing better than being your own boss.
Yeah.
And he used to wear the suit and tie, go to a meeting with the banks, and now the banks come to him in suits and ties, and he goes dresses like a t-shirt and shorts. And so I was super motivated by that, watching that over my whole life.
And so each one of you have had your own journey. We are now in a very digital first world. Instagram makes everything look amazing and glamorous.
Not my pictures. I don't know what.
You look fabulous. You look fabulous. And every time I sit down with an entrepreneur, they tell me that it is not always great. Tell us about, let's start with you, Justin, and then work back. Those hard days. What is the hardest day you have experienced as an entrepreneur? And the second part of that is what kept you in the game?
Yeah, there's so many hard days. I feel like I'm gonna turn this way because I'm having a hard time seeing everybody. And I want to spend a minute just explaining what beatbox is. Show of hands, who knows what beatbox beverages is before this panel? See, still not that many, but more than probably a couple years ago. We had an idea many, many years ago now for a party version of box wine. This was back in like 2010, 2011. Basically seeing the success of box wine and seeing the success of these flavor drinks and saying, why has no one done that? And then centering it around what we all loved as founders, which was music and music festivals. And if you've ever been to a major music festival where there's 100,000 people and they're coming into the festival and you look around and everybody gets to be authentically who they are. No matter who you voted for, no matter what race you are, what sexual identity you are, people are just coming together, you're meeting a new friend, celebrating with an old friend, and the world should be more like that. It should be more like a music festival. And so that was the essence of our brand, this feeling of fun, togetherness, and inclusion around a party drink. And so we got started out of UT Austin, and then went on Shark Tank in 2014. And I think after Shark Tank were some of the hardest days, right? We ended up getting $1 million investment from Mark, which was one of the larger deals in the show's history. And yeah, let's go. And you do that, and there's a party like, oh, did we make it? Did we just do it, right? But absolutely not. That's when the real work begins. And my co-founder Brad, who's here, always says, no one wants to be the company that raised $1 million from Mark and then failed.
Especially Mark.
Especially Mark, yeah. And it was, there was so many moments, but one of the hardest ones was actually during South by. We had lined up a lead investor to come in because, we were losing money. We needed to raise another round, and our sales were kind of floundering. We had this big box that wasn't quite the right product market fit, and the lead investor was like, we don't know, and it took a while to get them back. So there was like 3 or 4 months where we didn't pay ourselves. We had 3.
I thought they were toast. Literally, I thought it was over.
Oh, it was. I mean, the emails were pretty much like, this is done. Like this is game over. And one of our advisors had always told us, like, you're going to have at least 5 near-death experiences in your startup to ultimately get to success, and you just got to figure it out. But I would say those moments where you wake up with this pit in your stomach, like, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? You have those moments so many times as an entrepreneur and building your company, because the entrepreneurial roller coaster, nothing happens in a straight line. You have some of your best days and some of your worst days and everything in between. And I think what I was talking to Tabitha about this earlier is what drives you, what makes you keep going is you have to love it. You have to be so passionate about what you're doing. You can't start something because you see dollar signs. It's got to be because you innately, it just speaks to you, and no matter when it's as hard as it can be, you just say, F it, I'm still going to go because I believe in it and I love it and I'm just embracing it. But you know, if you're going to start a company and think it's all going to be roses and fairy tales, you are way wrong. It still is hard, and it will always be, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's worth it.
It's all worth it.
Right? For me, I think one of the hardest times was developing and launching a business during the pandemic. Right? We had been working on creating my hair care line, which started because I had started to lose my hair in the back of my head because I had a car accident many years ago. And so every now and then I would have these flare-ups where I'd have to lay flat on my back to sleep. You know how like babies, when they lay on their back, they start to bawl in the back a little bit? That was me, except I won't get brand new hair coming in. And so I was trying to figure out how to, grow my hair back. And so we had been developing this product and we were set to launch. And we launched in the new year, literally January 1st of 2020, had phenomenal, like blew it out the water. And then the pandemic happened and we couldn't get our products. We couldn't get, components and different materials because we needed them, from overseas, and everything was put on hold. But what I realized is that I had created such trust with my fan base and my customer that they were willing to pre-order and wait. Wow. But I was so afraid. I was like, oh my God, we done got these people's money. What if the stuff don't come? Mm-hmm. We don't know how long this is gonna last, right? We were all going through it at the same time. And to the point, you scared. And I was like, Lord, and then we have to give all this money back. Because when you first start, you taking your money and investing it back into your company. And so I was like, really every day like, oh Lord, what we gonna do? But eventually, of course, everything leveled out. But it was definitely stressful times, constantly trying to email your customers and reassure them and let them know, like, we working on it, y'all. We promise, this is happening. And the news would kind of help because the news would make statements saying, oh, the ports are closed or different things. I'm like, y'all see the news, y'all? Honey, we ain't lying, it's for real, So, but those are the times that you can't prepare for. You don't know when those things will happen, but every day, like you said, it's not gonna be easy, but it's worth it. It really is.
Yeah, so I started this company, Micro Solutions, after I got fired from a software store. And we're cooking along, right? Growing. And about 2 years in, we had all of 4 employees. And the job of one of them was to just do, administrative things. And so one of her jobs was to take our accounts payable checks and take them to the post office and mail them. Not a big deal, right? So I get a call from our bank, and a guy with the Texas Republic Bank, Southern accent. Excuse me, Mr. Cuban, I just wanted to tell you, we had a woman here, and she went through the drive-through, and it was weird because all these checks, the payees were whited out, and her name was penciled in. I'm like, you didn't cash those checks. Well, of course we did. We're a bank.
Oh my.
I'm like, oh, fuck, right? Literally, we had $84,000 in the bank, paid out 82 in payables, gone. Her name is Renee Hart. If you ever run into her, I'm looking for her. And so our immediate reaction was just like you'd expect, like freaked out. But then it only took a minute for us to realize that we don't have a choice. We have got to focus, and so called up all the vendors, explained what was happening, that, we were a good account, we'd always paid on time. So fortunately, they extended the terms and gave us time to pay it off, and we did, and eventually grew that company to 80 employees, 36 million in sales, and sold it to H&R Block, and so CompuServe. And so it turned out okay, but, like they've said, there's always going to be terrifying moments. Mm-hmm. That's just the nature of the beast, because there's always somebody competing with you, or there's always circumstances that you just can't anticipate. And so you've just got to be agile, and be ready for whatever comes.
Mm-hmm. So everyone on this stage has been at the brink. How does that, Tabitha and Mark, specifically inform how you choose to partner with small businesses? How does that perspective shine through?
Well, I mean, I think for me, and I know we talked about this earlier, you know, I'm a good reader of spirit, right? When that passion shines, there's something about it that says you'll still show up during the hard times. You're not, like what we're talking about, it can't just be about money. Like, of course, we all are in the business to make money, but you gotta have a certain amount of passion, and I gotta be able to feel that so that I know that the help that I'm willing to give you, you're willing to take it to help grow your business. Mm-hmm. You're passionate enough to not give up on it and to continue on. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of like my first thing that I look at when I'm trying to help small businesses. Because, you know, we don't want our time to be wasted. We don't want our work to be in vain. And so that's the thing. It's like, okay, these qualities are there. Like, let's pull up our sleeves and let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess I look for somebody who loves their product or service so much, they think it's a public service to sell.
Yeah.
Seriously, I mean, if you really, really, truly love what you have, you know, whether it's t-shirts, whatever, beatbox. I mean, what's more loving than to get somebody drunk on beatbox? You know, but if you care that much and you're so committed to your product, then that's always number one. And number two is I want somebody who's really curious, because things are always changing. Like right now is the perfect example. AI is changing everything.
Yes.
And you can make a decision to say, oh, my business is just running, I don't need to worry about it. Or you can say, wow, this is an opportunity. I can be more competitive. I can take advantage of it and create new opportunities. I don't have to do things the way it's always been done. I can find these new ways to do things. And if somebody's like that, then wherever the zig and wherever the zag, you know they're going to be in a position to do something good about it.
Awesome, awesome. And so when we look across this room today, there are lots of people in this room. And that tells us that the dream for entrepreneurship continues to be strong. It is alive and well, not only in this country, but globally. But we also know that 50% of all small businesses will fail by year 5. And that stat is astounding. What do you think is missing today? Because the dream is strong, but the failure rate is still very high. What's missing today? Justin, let's start with you.
I mean, I think two things. I think it's inspiration and then access, I think, are two big things. I mean, I think I credit a show like Shark Tank, which has just been so amazing for inspiring so many entrepreneurs that maybe never even felt they could start something. But then, you know, so many amazing people that have so many amazing ideas and don't know, you know, where to start. And I credit like my co-founder Amy, who was a part of creating the Naturally Network, where it's a community for people that have started companies to come and learn more about it. You know, the venture capital world, it's very much in a bubble. I don't know, there's probably venture capitalists here, but you know, they never gave us money. We didn't fit the bill. We had to fight other ways, but it gets in a bubble, and it's hard to get more access to capital, I think. So I think we have to find ways to support in local communities that, hey, entrepreneurism is a real thing. You can do it. Go for it. Here's a support system and mentors and people and coaches that want to help. And people did that for us. I can't tell you how many people early on just said, hey, I like this is cool and I want to help. Didn't ask for anything. And I try and pay that forward. And I think it's on the communities that people are in to help with that. And those would be the big ones, I think. And then I think also just this, it doesn't, you know, for us, we've raised money, we went, you know, and it's been this, hey, we have to grow. And we were losing money, and you have to get to this end goal of you know, whatever that may look like, whether it's an exit or you have a lot of investors that you have to worry about. I think that there's a misconception that that's how you always have to do it. You could just start something that is profitable early, and it can be small, but it can get you out of the 9-to-5 job that you don't like, and it doesn't need to be a multi-billion-dollar exit, and most of them are. I mean, 99% of them aren't. It just needs to be something that you love to do, and you can make enough money to live a good lifestyle from, and that is a dream. I mean, it doesn't have to be some mega thing. It could just be, and I think people have this misconception that if I start a company, I have to be this national brand or I have to go global, and that isn't the truth. Awesome. It can be local too. So.
Awesome. Tab?
I think patience and consistency are missing. I think the social media and technology, like for example, Google, like if you don't know something, you can Google, you get the, answer immediately, or like Chat GPT. And I think it has taken the patience away from us. We think everything's supposed to happen instantly. I should get results quicker. Well, maybe you ain't supposed to get the results that quick. You got to take time and be patient to learn the business that you're in, that you're creating, but also the consistency. You can't just do it one time and think, okay, that's it. No, you got to do a little bit every single day. You may not have to do a whole lot every day, but in the beginning, you need to be doing a little bit towards that business, that desire, that dream, that goal every day. And sometimes that little bit is like researching. It's talking to somebody, finding a mentor, asking questions. Because, honey, we don't know a whole lot, right? I still don't know. I'm up here right now like, I'm learning some good stuff today. Like, I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to learn something new every day, and I want to be patient about it. I don't want nothing too quick. My granddad always tell me, honey, if it's too quick, honey, it die quick. Like, I don't want that. So I'd rather take my time and do it right. So I think consistency and patience is something that we're lacking, but I do believe we can get it back.
I love that.
Yeah, I would say the reason why so many businesses fail, the percentage fails, is that there's some really stupid ideas.
And then there's that, okay?
Right, this is really, really dumb that, we think are good. And, you can be patient, which is good. Right? You can get mentors and fire through, which is good. But I'll give you a perfect example. Like one of my first efforts after college was, I was poor, living like a student. I'm like, I like milk in my cereal. And somebody said, well, I've got this ability to get powdered milk. And you can sell it and go to stores and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me try it. And I'm like, tasting it. Well, it doesn't taste quite as good as milk, but it's cheaper. Let me just tell you, nobody wants milk that doesn't taste quite as good as milk. It was stupid, right? But I had to learn it was stupid because, and there's other stupid shit that I've done too. But nobody ever remembers the stupid shit, thank God, right? But what I can tell you is it doesn't matter how many times you fail. You only got to be right one time.
Come on.
And then everybody tells you what a genius you are, and so, so go have your stupid ideas, just don't pitch me.
Amen. Awesome. So today, Gen Z is the future of entrepreneurship. It's almost 70 million Gen Zers out there, and none of them want my job. Most of them want to have these jobs, sit on the stage as entrepreneurs that are successful. What advice, beyond what you've already shared today, can you share specifically for the next generation of entrepreneurs?
I mean, if I was 16, 18, 20, 21, starting today, I would spend every waking minute learning about AI. Even if I'm sleeping, I'm listening to podcasts talking about AI. And then when I was trying everything, because it is literally like, you know how on your TikTok and Instagram feeds, you see one thing you like, you like it, and then you follow, you like it. My whole Instagram and TikTok feeds are now AI hacks. Because there's that much changing that rapidly. And so it's one thing to have a business and how you integrate AI, that's one thing. But if you're just getting started, right, as you learn these things, it's so much easier to start. Like it went from way back in the day, $5,000 for a PC that was that big, right? Yeah. To, hey, if you just have a laptop and a connection to the internet, you can start anything. To now, you have a mentor, whether you use Perplexity, Anthropic, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, it doesn't matter, right? You have experts. And you might say, well, those hallucinate. Let me just tell you, your mentors and experts don't always get it right either. Right. So you've got these experts who can answer questions and help you understand what you don't know. You've got these tools that'll just spider everything, that'll do your emails, that'll do sales calls for you. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, you just have to be the one who thinks and figures it out and knows what your product market fit. Like, has anybody played with Notebook LM, the podcast feature? Oh my God. So Notebook LM has this podcast feature. And you talk about Gen Z, right? Nobody likes to read anymore. You know, everybody wants to listen or watch on YouTube. So you can take any PDF file, any text. It could be like your onboarding manual, it could be training manual, it could be distribution manuals, whatever it is, and you feed it in there, and it turns it into a podcast.
What?
It is the most insane shit ever.
Are you serious?
Right. So literally, like, we gave it for one of my Shark Tank companies, TickPick, I think it is, who makes these picks out of Nashville, and they had to do a presentation, and they just fed the presentation, literally a sales presentation, into it and sent it as a podcast. And it has a man and a woman, and so we were reviewing TickPick today. And we found that it was a really interesting part. So tell me why you think it's an interesting product, right? What were the features that really made it stood out? Well, let me start with how it's made in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, it's really important these days because of tariffs to be made domestically in the United States. I'm like, how the fuck does this happen, right?
It's scary at the same time.
It is the most insane thing. But when you talk about Gen Z, you always have to understand how your stakeholders, the people you work with, how they learn, how they consume information. You know, we went from, you know, newspapers and magazines to and TV to social media, websites to social media, and now that's great, but it's so, how do you get somebody to really pay attention? Well, people pay attention to podcasts. And being able to create podcasts out of information, that's just one example of things that AI are doing and will do, and it's just going to change so quickly. And so if you're just getting started today, just by going in there and learning it, your mind's just going to go nuts. And as an entrepreneur, you'll find a million different ways you can leverage this to, you know, either do something that's more competitive yourself or to sell it to other companies. Like somebody asked me, you know, if you needed to start a job today, you're 16, 17, 18 years old, what would you do? I'm like, I'm going to Notebook LM and I'm doing a demo. Then I'm going to every small business up and down the street in the town where I live, and I'm doing a demo and I'm showing them how they can just send out this little podcast about whatever it is they do, or use it internally for their employees, or talk about the cars they sell, or talk about the suits they sell, and charge them $25 an hour. You know, it's just right there. And it's changing so rapidly. The reality is 99.99999% of the people aren't going to do shit. They're going to say, I'll get somebody to help me. But those people who put in the time are going to crush it. So
Somebody going to get that job right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Tabitha, what about you?
I mean, I was going to say all of that. That's what I was going to say.
I knew, I saw your notes, that's why I stole it.
Because the Notebook LM, I've been using that thing, you know.
Right?
You know.
You invented that, right? It's her voice. You don't know, but it's her voice.
Yeah, we have partnered together, you know. But what I was going to say is figure out how to get a lot of information out to people in a short amount of time. Because although people also don't like to read anymore, the attention span is shortened. So if you can put it in 30 seconds and get their attention, but give them a lot of knowledge to make them say, click on it, then you got them, right? At least now you got the first step in engaging. But we got to get that information out quicker. Like people just don't listen anymore, right? So it used to be put it in a book if you wanted to hide it. Now it's like put it in a video longer than 60 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of really good things were said. I think building your own support system. I talk to so many younger entrepreneurs that are like, oh, I'm scared. I can't tell you my ID. You're going to take it. I'm like, what are you talking about? like, oh, I don't want to have a co-founder because I need to own all my business. Like, you need a co-founder. You need support for what you're about to go through. Don't be afraid to talk about what you're working on, and because all the people want to help you. And if someone hears what you're trying to do and then like goes all in on it and beats you, then you probably shouldn't have done it anyway. So build a support system, find a co-founder, and then also get out there. Like, it's very easy. You can be behind your computer looking at all this and on your phone on ChatGPT and doing all this, but I live in the world of tangible products, and I think there's always going to be a world for tangible products. But I tell you, like, we went out there and made prototypes and talked to people in person and got feedback, versus so many people sit behind and they do research and they're looking and they don't ever talk to an actual consumer. And then they think that because they like it so much that it's just going to work, and then it gets out there in the real world and nobody fucking wants it. So you could have saved yourself a lot of time. So find a way to get what you want to make as cheaply as possible. Get out there. And I think it's, I sound like an old person now, but it's like the young generation doesn't like to go out. We see it in the data, like they're not, places like Buffalo Wild Wings and they're having a really hard time to get people to go out and socialize and go to bars because they're doing everything in their own homes. But like, get out there and meet people, and that's when the magic happens. It doesn't happen sitting in your home behind your computer.
Awesome. So, magic. I think there is magic in what each one of you guys have said individually, but there is power in what you've said collectively. And that is at the heart of where we're here today. What we're trying to do together with our Shark Tank family, many of whom are here today, with our Clover family, who's in the building, is to provide inspiration, access, and support to the next generation of entrepreneurs and the now generation of entrepreneurs. And the only way to do that is to help close the failure gap or narrow that rate just a little bit. Each person connected to a business, when it's successful, shares in that success. And so we are really excited to announce today a very special partnership between Clover and Shark Tank, and it is the first Clover Shark Tank Summit that is coming. Yes. So the vision is to bring together thought leaders, creators, sharks, those who have gotten investments from sharks, together into one room to really get underneath those addressable things that are getting in the way of small businesses being successful. We can handle it, we can tackle it, but it only comes through community. And those 5 reasons are business planning, lack of cash management, employee management, marketing with an underpinning on consumer insights and making sure that your business is future-proof, resiliency planning. So we are completely excited. Registration, I think, may be open right now at clover.com. It will sell out, again, clover.com, but I just want to take just a second
Is
to...
that Clover.com?
Clover.com, baby, clover.com.
You gotta put
Go
.com
to
at the
it,
end.
crash
Okay.
the site, yes. But I want to ask each one of you, because I think Mark will be there, Tabitha will be there, we have invited Justin. What does
Count
this
me in.
mean? We got you on a pass.
It's in Vegas, right?
Yes, it's in Vegas, September 28th through the 30th. But what does this mean for you, Mark?
I mean, I just think what you guys are doing at Clover and why I got involved is when you're starting a business, the blocking and tackling, the checklist stuff is hard. Because you're all fired up about what it is you have to do to all the things Justin and Tabitha mentioned, all the selling, all the preparation, there's a lot. But it's typically not the core competency of the entrepreneur to know, all about your accounting and everything else. But if you don't know that stuff, I can't tell you, like on Shark Tank, once we close the deal, we get to do due diligence. And I can't tell you how many times we've looked under the hood of a business that thought they were profitable and they weren't. They thought their margins were enough to cover their costs, and they didn't. And so with Clover, they've got point of sale, they've got everything behind that inventory so that you can literally know that when you make a sale, when you're running your business, you know if you're making money or not, and that's critically important.
Thank you.
I think just to piggyback on that, it is absolutely, like, I'm excited, right, to just be partnered with Clover as their Chief Empowerment Officer. I love people. I love to see when people are passionate and they have a dream. And I think I am gifted in a way that I can inspire people and help empower them and help them be resilient and not to give up. And I've been there and I'm in there now, right? And so to feel like I can walk side by side and to be there at the summit, I'm excited to just be on the grounds with people and just talking about business and their passion and their goals and their dreams. Because I think if we all just know that we got somebody who's willing to listen, and we got a good product, not a dumb one, okay? That, you know, being in a room full of community, of like-minded individuals is such a powerful environment that, you know, can change the world, right? And our worlds are our own communities. So I'm just super excited about it.
Yeah. Well, I'd be remiss to say in the vein of Shark Tank, we have huge news that's coming out on Friday on Shark Tank. We have an update. So this Friday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, we're making a huge announcement.
ABC,
I won't spoil
ABC,
it.
on ABC.
On ABC.
Okay, come on.
ABC, Clover.com. And so that's going to be on Friday. And I think, you know, for us, we went on Shark Tank in 2014. It's crazy. That was 11 years ago.
Wow.
And our story, right, with all of the difficult times and thinking we're going out of business and wondering why we're doing this. You know, today we have 250 employees. We're sold in all 50 states, starting to go all over the world. We've done over 200 million in sales in the last 12 months, and it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, you know, I think anything that can encourage the next generation and this generation, it doesn't matter when you want to start something, you can do it. And I think anything that helps facilitate more, helps with the success rate, is so wonderful, and people should take advantage of it because it's been a dream come true doing what we do and leading our company and getting to do what we love every single day. And I could only wish that for anybody else that's, you know, crazy enough to dive into this world. So
Awesome. And so I just want to take just a moment to say thank you to Shark Tank for entrusting us with the responsibility of taking your idea outside of the screen, because it's one that we know the brand love is deep, and we are excited to partner with you. But we have one more announcement. We're full of surprises today. Tabitha, you were announced as Clover's Chief Empowerment Officer on January 30th this year.
Yeah.
And you have been working on something very special behind the scenes. Can you tell us about it?
I have. So I've been very passionate about small businesses for a very long time, which is why we were in alignment and the partnership made sense for me. And we created a show in partnership with Clover that will help bless small businesses, because I mean, how many people in here are a small business, or you have a small business, or you know a small business, right? And the one thing that you hope is that you have a lifeline sometimes, that somebody will be willing to help you when times are not that great. And that is what this show is about, because that's your business, okay? And that's also the name of the show. And so we want to go all over the country finding small businesses who are just having a hard time and they just need a little help to see the light again. And that's what it's all about. And we'll get to debut it right now and show a little bit of it. Shall we?
Yes.
Honey, bring it on the screens and things.
Don't let me be in the way, because let me tell you what color my thumb is. Brown. It's brown. I don't have a green thumb, and that's my business, okay?
I am Tabitha Brown.
Known as America's Mom, with millions of followers on social media.
Hello there. Y'all all right?
A multi-hyphenate.
I am an entertainer, entrepreneur, an author. Here I am. I be out here working. As Chief Empowerment Officer at Clover, it's all about helping small businesses and changing lives. Small businesses is a passion for me, it's a passion for Clover, and together, baby, we about to hit them with a good 2-punch, okay? All right, let's get into it. There's nothing like knowing that you have a lifeline, that somebody is willing to help you, and that is like my jam, okay? Seeing people's lives change, that's like magic.
I'm the founder of Supermarket LA. We're dedicated to making fresh food affordable and food deserts.
It is a perfect alignment for me to be here at Supermarket.
Knock, knock. Hello there.
Just like any small business, and when you are passionate about something,
You deserve to be successful.
Oh, supermarket started because I was tired of being on the bus 2 hours every time I needed to go get fresh food. Supermarket is my love letter to my loved ones that I've lost so that I don't lose more loved ones to preventable disease. The process of getting this space built out has like pushed me to the limits. I am tired. I'm extremely tired. I
can feel it.
Yeah. We tried to reach out to an ice cream provider, and when we told him where we were located, he literally like laughed over the phone.
So some of the struggles that Olympia is having is inventory, distribution, and employee turnovers.
It's rough, but I have a vision. We want to turn this into a community gathering area. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
One day at a time, you're gonna have to start to take those layers off so that you can be free to enjoy your life.
She deserves to be successful. We got to figure out how to help her with that. All right, so y'all ready? Let's do it. This is what community looks like. Roll up your sleeves. Olympia is going to be so grateful. This is my Clover family.
Our objective today is to help you see ways to grow your business. Our technology addressed those issues. It was like a whole different world.
This equipment will be a game changer for us.
We have run into a problem with distribution for her.
We'd love to help.
Thank you so much.
It takes a village, and you got one.
That's right. You think we're going to get it done in time?
You know, I'm not sure.
It's beginning to happen.
I'm so curious to see what she has up her sleeves.
Girl, I'm about to blow your mind.
Oh, wow.
What you put out comes back to you.
I'm so proud of you.
She deserves to be successful.
Clover really came through. Deeply, deeply grateful.
People inspire me every day. So I'm excited to take y'all on this journey with me. Are you ready? Baby, because you know why? That's my business. And today, it's gonna be your business. I love a good surprise. Don't you love a good surprise?
Good job.
So I think, Tabitha, we are so thrilled. We are grateful. I think Invisible Collective is in the house as well.
Yes.
Steve, love. Thank you for lending your heart and your talent to this project. We appreciate you. And so we don't have any more surprises. That was it. But we have 9 minutes for questions to keep us on track. I need readers. I'm going to try to make out these questions the best I can. So the first question is, how can small businesses competing with new AI convey the importance of shopping small over more affordable and faster turnover of online corporate America? That's a good one.
Okay, Mark.
That's a Mark question. That's the AI expert.
You know, when you run with the elephants, there's the quick and the dead. You've got to be better. That's just the nature of competition. You can't think things are just going to stay the same because it's you. Like, there's somebody out there trying to, kick my ass in business. They're not going to do it, but they're going to try, right? But it's because it's like with anything. Whether it's not AI can make you smarter too. Whatever tools are out there, you have to be willing to use them as much as anybody else. There's always going to be I remember when I started Micro Solutions, laying in bed thinking, okay, I have $15,000 in the bank. Oh my God. And then, a bigger company coming in and taking one of my customers. That is the nature of the beast. It's going to happen. You've just got to keep on grinding.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to keep asking questions. We're going to do rapid fire. What about second generation family businesses? When we take over business, are we entrepreneurs? How do we lead the company on a higher level? Justin, what about you?
I think it's about bringing the next generation tools and systems this is talking specifically about a second generation business. Taking it over, I would say you have to evaluate what they're doing and what you think you could do better. I imagine that if it's a legacy family business, there's a lot of things internally that are done, quote unquote, the old way. And so it would be bringing, whatever AI tools you've learned coming out of this, and whatever else you can bring that's new blood and fresh to the organization.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you, Tabitha. What direction do you see online content headed for small businesses with AI video production and Google AI taking search results away from small businesses?
I mean, Mark has kind of given us the insight on that. You're going to have to learn that system, right? Even myself, I'm like, well, I need to learn a little bit more about AI. I'm always thinking about it and trying to figure it out as well. But you got to integrate, right? You can still show up and do your content the way that you do it, but integrate AI as well. So, I mean, it's just like, I'm an actress, right? That's my first job, first love. And I remember being told for years, don't get on social media, they won't take you serious. Mm-hmm. Now, you go into a room to audition, they say, well, how many followers you got? Well, you told us not to get on there. Mm-hmm. And now you asking for it, right? Because the change, you're gonna have to get with the program eventually. So figure out how to marry those together.
These are amazing questions.
Let me just add this.
Go ahead.
AI is never the answer. Mm-hmm. AI is a tool. Mm-hmm. Whatever skills you have, you can use AI to amplify them.
That's right.
Whatever intelligence you have, whatever intellectual property you have in your mind, you can use AI as a way to clean out all the other things so you can focus on what you need to focus. So, you know, a lot of creative people think, well, AI is going to write all the scripts. AI doesn't know a good story from a bad story. Yeah. You know, you need to be creative. AI can do the videos. Trust me, I can create AI-generated videos. They're still going to suck. Mm-hmm. You know, you need to be creative. So whatever skills you have, AI can amplify them. But not using it means somebody else is going to be amplifying their skills, mm-hmm. and that could be the difference between, you know, getting ahead of you or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, the next question. I'm going rapid fire. We got 5 minutes. What seemingly stupid decision have you made in business that actually turned out to be genius? And why do you think most people wouldn't have made that move?
I think there's a couple, like, one, starting Beatbox to a lot of people was a stupid decision. Mm-hmm. In fact, we did a business school competition in Louisville, and one of the judges was the former CFO of Brown-Forman, one of the largest alcohol companies in the world. And she said to us, this is one of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard. This will never work. Wow. No one wants premium box party punch, right? And Tito, who a mentor of ours, local Austin legend, he said to us, you know what I love about you three? That if you had any experience in alcohol, there's no fucking way you start this company. Like, part of the brilliance is the stupidity and naivete of not knowing what you're getting into. If you only looked at the data of what was selling in the market, you never would create it. You would just copy whatever was, you know, selling a lot at retail. So I think that's what leads to the brilliance is being a little bit crazy, because that's what is different. So we made everything we did was stupid, but it all led to getting to where we are. So that's my perspective.
Stupid, but
yeah, you're just going for it. You don't know any different.
Yeah. You know, I think mine was, I named my hair. So I know y'all.
Everybody?
What's your hair name, Mark?
Mark.
In 2018, 2017, I shaved off all my hair. I did the big chop, as they call it. And in 2018, I used to cook live every day at 5 o'clock on Facebook. And I had started to let my hair grow back. And at the top, I had like a little small afro, but in the very top, it was growing straight up, like sitting up straight. And I was like cooking live, looking at myself. I said, Lord, I look like Don King. True story. I said, I'm gonna have to call my hair Donna. And in the moment, I heard, keep saying that. So for 2 years straight, I just gave her life every day. I'll be like, y'all see Donna today? Y'all see? To the point where I made people start to say, girl, Donna look good today. And in 2020, I launched a hair care line called Donna's Recipe.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, speaking truth and the power. Yep.
I mean, my biggest wins have been where people thought I was an idiot. You know, we started the streaming industry in 1995, and I would go to people and say, look, we want to listen to Indiana basketball in Dallas. You can't get it. So we're going to use this thing called the internet to be able to listen to sporting events and eventually watch sporting events. And it was like, you moron, I'll just turn on the radio or turn on the TV. Why would I use a computer? And then in 2001, we started the first all HD TV network called HDNet. And back then, these screens like this up here, you know, your typical, you know, HD TV was $25,000. And they were like, there's no way. Who's going to spend $25,000? I'm like, no, it's going to, the price performance curve is going to change. And then about 3 years ago, we started shipping for a company called costplusdrugs.com. And it's the first place where you could go, you put in the name of the medication, and our cost comes up, our markup comes up, and we're a lot cheaper. And they're like, you can't take on the pharmacy benefit managers, you can't take on the pharmaceutical companies, and now they're copying us. The point being that the dumber people think it is, chances are there may be something there.
Yeah. They definitely called me crazy. It's like, that girl crazy, calling her hair Donna.
Awesome.
Crazy at the bank.
Amen. Ching, 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 ching. All right, so we have one more question. One more question. Everything that you are doing at its core is a people business. Business is a people business. And we have the last question, is that I lead a fast-growing small business, but hiring other leaders at this phase is hard. Any really unique or game-changing tips for finding top talent?
Man, we would hustle on LinkedIn trying to see the roles in different companies that would be great fits for what we were trying to do. And you find someone who's really, really great. You think they'd be a great fit. Give them a call. Hey, I'm trying to explore some stuff about this industry, and then feel out if they want to work there. But I think most important, you have to have the right infrastructure internally that people can do the best work of their careers and have the best time doing it. That's what we like to say here. And so that means your benefits have to be in line, your pay has to be right. If you can't pay enough, you got to be willing to give. We give everybody in the company stock option programs, like make them feel ownership in the business. Those are all really key things. And then really understand what drives them. Because we always say, we flip the script in the interview. This isn't like, what can you do for us? How can you help us grow? How can you make our company better? It's, hey, what do you like to do? What drives you innately? And these are the things the company needs. These are the things that you are telling me you love to do. We think there's a match here, which means you're going to wake up every day and feel inspired and fulfilled and motivated. And if you're not, and it's on us to check in every few months, then either you lied in your interview or we were lying, right? But if we're all here open and honest, and you get people in that can feel fulfilled and part of the journey, they're going to go through battle with you. And I think that's really important. I think people miss that.
What I tell you earlier?
It's not about the resume.
It's about the spirit. If it don't feel right, it ain't right.
Yeah.
That's just it for me. Like, we get to the qualifications later, but I got to know that we're in alignment. And my spirit got to feel good about even having a conversation with you. So spirit over resume for me.
Yeah, I suck at hiring. And so I have to give directions to people. And what I try to do is tell them to look where other people aren't. Most people like to look at the big name universities, the elite schools, and it's all the people from the smaller schools, the state schools, the HBCUs that don't get recruited. But there's a whole lot of smart people there. And there's a whole lot of people that have soft skills. Because sometimes, Tab was saying, it's not about the resume, it's about the spirit, but the soft skills, the intangibles. Those typically, particularly when you're just hiring somebody into a company, that's what can make the difference. Those are the difference makers. And so don't just go where everybody else goes. Go where people just don't get the attention, don't get the respect, because you're going to find the hardest working people you'll ever find when you look there.
This has been amazing. You guys have been amazing. We appreciate you. I hope that you believe that the people on this stage are creating a new playing field. Please join our journey. Go to Clover.com, the first Clover Shark Tank Summit. And we forgot one other announcement. There will be a few access passes for a few lucky people that we are giving away from now until August 11th to come to this conference. Join us. And with that, thank you for being an amazing audience.